Yes, Tripti, you are.
Thanks. So, Komal, is it good to go? Good evening, everyone. I, Tripti Bahel, Secretary Flow Uttarakhand, extend a warm welcome to all our office bearers, executive members, Flow members pan-India, and members of the community. First and foremost, I would like to welcome our eminent guest and speaker, Nitya Shantiji. A warm welcome to all. Now, I would like to request our chairperson, Ms. Komal Batra, to address the viewers. Komal, I request you to please take this forward.
Thank you so much, Tripti. A very warm welcome to everyone. A heartiest welcome to Nitya Shanti. When I reached out to Nitya for this webinar, we did not know that it was Mahashivratri today. And this was the date that he was free, and we thought, let's just do something that is empowering for women. He creates these joy shops that are wonderful, wonderful creations of little mantras from life that help us become more aware of how we are thinking, how we are acting, how we are behaving in our lives day in and day out. And it does not take a lot of effort to bring yourself to that present moment and work from the space of consciousness. So here we invite everyone to be present with us in the next 1.5 hours and open yourselves up to the space and vibrancy that this auspicious day also co-creates with us. I also congratulate all of you on taking this time to become more awakened in the path to access your own power. Leading on to Nitya's introduction, he does not need any introduction. We've been hearing about him, we've been listening to him, we've been attending his workshops, yet I will go ahead and do the honors. Nitya Shanti is an internationally respected spiritual teacher, seminar leader, and facilitator, committed to sharing practical wisdom teachings for happiness and awakening with people in a joyful and transformational way. Blending a deep study of ancient teachings along with a rich harvest of contemporary learnings, Nitya Shanti specializes in facilitating profound shifts in awareness for people to release limitations and potentials for a balanced and fulfilling life. An MBA graduate from XLRI, he renounced the worldly pleasures and was ordained a Buddhist monk in 2002, living in forest monasteries in Thailand, Sri Lanka, and various parts of India and the US of A. With the blessings of his teachers, he stepped out of the robes in 2008 and now shares inspiring teachings in happiness joy shops, youth programs, corporate trainings, and meditation retreats around the world. With this introduction, I hand over the mic to Nitya. Nitya, most welcome to lead this forward.
Thank you, Komal, and thank you, everybody. Wonderful to be here with all of you. I actually studied in Dehradun for a while. I was in Vellum for a few years. So then I had to recover from that. But I have some fond memories of Dehradun. And I think it's not an accident that somehow this session on awakening Shakti is happening on Mahashivratri. And that also Komal told me further that not only is it the right day, it's the right time. Because according to the Hindu calendar, it is exactly at 4 o'clock that the Mahurat begins. So this is it's divinely orchestrated. And for me, today's session is not just a talk. It's not just about inspiration or some nice teachings. The sense I got is that it's meant to be a kind of transmission. It's meant to be a kind of invitation for you to step into your own power. And as we know, for a very, very long time, there has been a conscious and unconscious subjugation and limitation of women and their power for a variety of reasons. In fact, the word power in Hindi or Sanskrit is Shakti, right? So you may not even realize it, but how many ways, I'm sure you do realize, but maybe you don't realize in how many ways you have been limited. And some of you, in Indian culture, of course, we can pick it up quite quickly. We notice culturally and in religious ways how we get limited. So today's session, I hope to make a dent in that and to help you access your true power. Very auspicious day to do this. So for me, this is less of a talk and it's more of a transmission. And I hope by the end of this, something in you gets unburdened, unclogged, some new juice starts flowing inside of you. I was talking to someone today and they said that in their company, they had a colleague who came up with a program called Surprise Yourself. And in this program, he invited people to do things that they were uncomfortable doing, to surprise themselves, to break the pattern. So for example, he would say, wear a strange hat, a strange looking hat all day long. Strange looking hat, why would I do that? But when you wear a strange looking hat, you get a lot of attention. And people are going to ask, why are you wearing that? What is that? Why are you wearing that? All day long, you'll have to answer that kind of question. And of course, many of us are not that comfortable getting such a lot of attention for something like that. And then you're supposed to answer, well, I'm trying to deal with my discomfort from getting a lot of attention. Right? So the point he was making in that program was you need to challenge yourself a little bit. Otherwise, you will forever remain within the little bracket that you found yourself in. And he invited people to find their own way of challenging. Like one person decided that he would wear a t-shirt on which he would wear a tie. You never see a person wearing a tie on a t-shirt. You normally wear a tie on a formal shirt. So of course, all day long, people began asking, what is that about? Why are you wearing this? Something's happening. What's going on? And he had to answer. And he actually found it very nice because he said, I'm someone who actually struggles to make friends. It's very stressful for me to talk to people, initiate a conversation. So all day long, people initiated conversation with me. And I got to make some new friends. I got their name. And he said, even though it was a little demanding, going through the whole day wearing a tie over a t-shirt, nevertheless, by the evening, it had really shifted something in him. And he was no longer that afraid. Another person told me that they were a little bit shy to talk to senior people, like the directors in the company. They felt a little bit shy. How can I talk to a manager or director? But they decided that whole day, whenever they see a manager or director, they'll go up to the manager and they'll greet them and they'll say one or two sentences. And it wasn't that hard. And the person said that from that day onwards, they didn't feel that awkwardness anymore. So we can live our whole life in that little prison, whatever your prison is, right? And where we limit ourselves. Or we can challenge ourselves and rise above it. I'll give you one example from my life. When I was in class 11th or so, we would, I'm sure you also went for these tuition classes, these horrible tuition classes, extra classes beyond school. And so these were tuition classes for IIT. Both my parents went to IIT. So of course they wanted me to go to IIT. I'm so glad I didn't go to IIT. But we had to go for these tuition classes. And so the teacher was teaching at the speed of light, covering one topic after the other. And then he'd turn around and say, got it? And there are 50, 60 students there. They're all quiet. And I would raise my hand and say, I didn't get it. Then he'd make a face and he'd repeat the whole thing all over again. And at the end of that class, 3 or 4 students came and shook my hand and said, thanks for asking. We also didn't get it. Thanks for clarifying. Thanks for asking. It really helped. And that's the day I realized that one shouldn't be shy to say, I don't know. Why be so shy? In fact, the person who most says, I don't know, ends up learning the most. If you keep on pretending like you know, then you don't get anywhere. So it's very important in this lifetime to be willing to own our own foolishness. In fact, you'll find the wiser you get, the more you realize how little you know. The more foolish you are, the more you assume you know everything. It's a good hallmark of foolishness is the assumption I know it all. So like this, in today's session as well, my aim is to support you and also challenge you so that something shifts at a deeper level. And like I said, I want it to be a transmission so that it's not just a nice, cute topic, awakening Shakti. You actually feel that power and that Shakti within you. The reason I chose this topic, along with Komal, is that I have a friend, Nandini, who had gone for a retreat in which they were talking about gender and roles like that. And one thing that came up in that retreat is the idea that most women assume that their essence is love. And most men assume that their essence is power. But it's actually the other way around. So what does it mean? The essence of women is actually power. And to the extent you're in touch with your power, you will find love everywhere. The expression of that power is love. And the essence of men is actually love. And the more they're in touch with that love, the more they will discover their power. But if you assume, as a woman, if you assume your essence is love, then you will spend your whole life looking for love and validation. You're not going to get it. You will disempower yourself. And men who assume that their essence is power will look for power in all the wrong places. And they will have a love of power instead of accessing the power of love. So the reason I chose this topic is a nice way of looking. Of course, women and men, it's not just limited to men and women. This is more like a principle. We will talk today more about Shiva and Shakti, consciousness and energy, that which knows and that which vibrates, that which manifests. So my aim is for you to really get in touch with your inner Shakti. The more you're in touch with your Shakti, you start finding things start opening up in your life. It'll start opening up in your work. It'll start opening up in your relationships. Your entire life will start blossoming in levels and in ways you may not have imagined before. This comes from recognizing and owning your power. Here's a nice analogy given by one of my teachers, Nisargadatta Maharaj. So he says, and I want you to imagine it becomes more real when you imagine. Okay, so there's a forest. And you're in this forest. And in this forest are many, many tigers. There's a forest, you're in this forest, in this forest are many, many tigers. Now that's quite fearful to be in a forest full of tigers. In fact, some of my teachers, I used to be a monk, and they would seek out forests with tigers. So why would you want to go to a forest with tigers? Because even from a distance, when you hear a tiger roar, it can lead to one or two outcomes. You'll either go crazy with fear, or you will become very deep in your samadhi, your meditation practice. There's no third option. Either you get thrown off by your desire to survive and you protect yourself. And you wonder, where should I run? There's a tiger somewhere. Or you go very deep into your meditation. So they would actually seek out scary places like that. And they said, what you will gain in just 3 to 5 days in a forest with regular tiger calls, you will not gain in 30 years of normal meditation. And I think there's some truth to that. Practice really accelerates in places like this. So anyway, so the story is that you're in this forest and there are a lot of tigers. That's scary. So let's make things a little bit better. There's a really strong cage, reinforced strong steel. It's a nice spacious cage. You're in the cage and the tigers are all around. Life is a little better because you know you're safe in this cage. The tigers can't really. They can come close, they can even try to put their hands in. They can't really bite you. They can't really scratch you. So you're good. Stage 3 is you are outside. All the tigers are in the cage. This is much better. Now the whole forest is open. You can explore the forest anyway you like. Because all the tigers are inside the cage. You're outside the cage, the tiger is inside the cage. Next stage. Cage disappears. And you are riding the tiger. You might have seen pictures of these, these various devis, and they're on the back of a lion or a tiger, right? Durga Ma and others. They're on the back. And what does it mean to be on the back of the tiger? Now you have tamed your power. You have tamed your energy. It's no longer just going all over the place. So your essence is nothing but power. But if it's untamed, it can create havoc in your life. But to the extent you can, and there's steps to that. And in Buddhism, this is called Shila Samadhi Pragya. Shila is you decide to limit yourself, that I will not say things and do things that create harm. Right? So I will not kill, I will not steal, I will not. There are various things like that. I will not tell lies. And so by my behavior, I will protect others by being mindful of myself. So this is stage number one, you're inside the cage. Stage number two is Samadhi. So I mentioned my teachers in the past. And to some extent, even I have experienced this. When you go in the deep forest and you hear, in my case, I didn't hear tigers, but I heard wild elephants. Also quite scary to hear a wild elephant in the jungle. Then you realize that you can either go crazy thinking about when will the elephant come and crush me and imagine how dangerous that will be, or you come to your meditation object. In my case, it was the breath. And you got so focused on the breath, you forget everything else. Right? So this is called Samadhi. Kaneka Samadhi, Upachara Samadhi, Arpana Samadhi. What is Kaneka Samadhi? Momentary concentration. I hope in today's session, I at least can get your Kaneka Samadhi. If you're constantly looking at your phone, I'll not even have Kaneka Samadhi. Kaneka is like shanik, for a few moments. Right? Can you be attentive at least for a few moments? From moments to minutes would be Kaneka Samadhi. Upachara Samadhi is from minutes to hours. So you can be attentive for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, all the way to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. This is called Upachara Samadhi. Those of you who've ever in your life experienced Upachara Samadhi, you will notice your sensory experience takes on a high resolution. It goes to a high resolution. What does it mean? You see things with crystalline clarity. You hear things with crystalline clarity. You smell, taste, touch with crystalline clarity. And every experience has a depth which is otherwise not available to you in a normal way. Maybe some of you have done some fasting, or maybe some of you have gone on a pilgrimage, or maybe some of you have done some of these practices which are not unusual in our culture. And then you would have had experiences like this, where things become super sharp. Right? And so this is also the gateway to mystical experience. So this is Samadhi. And then, of course, Arpana Samadhi is you become one. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. When you become one with the object of your meditation. It's not that you become one, actually, you're already one. But you recognize your oneness with it, non-separation. And that's when the chitter-chatter in the brain fully stops. And you come to a genuine mystical experience. You recognize your oneness with everything, everyone and everything. Leads to a fundamental shift. Someone was telling me today itself that, Nitya, you're so kind, you're so loving, you're so giving. And I don't perceive myself to be particularly kind or loving or giving. But maybe at some level, I have recognized my oneness. Well, I can also be mean and everything. But at some level, I recognize my fundamental oneness. So I can never be mean beyond a point. I mean, I'm usually mean in a teasing kind of way, more than anything else. So that deep sense of non-separation, this is the beginning of genuine wisdom. Until then, they're only concepts and ideas that you take now. Right? Now, this is you outside and the tigers inside the cage. And we want you to get to prajna. Prajna is wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is nothing to be afraid of. What you thought was scary is not so scary anymore. The poison is the medicine. And so it shifts from being a spiritual warrior to being a spiritual warrior. What's a spiritual warrior? Come and get me. What's going to happen? Come and get me. If you saw the first movie Matrix, the first version of the Matrix, right at the end, these agents shoot at Neo all these bullets. There's so many bullets coming towards him. And in that moment, he realizes, how long am I going to run? What is all this running? So he decides to just stand there. He just puts his hand out and all the bullets stop. And then all the bullets just drop. And then he goes, and these agents have been pursuing him throughout the movie. He goes and he jumps inside the agent. He becomes one with the agent. So in other words, what you were most afraid of, you now say, come and get me. Bring it on, bring it on. This is a very powerful attitude. Bring it on. Nothing to be afraid of. I mean, recently, there was this example. To me, it's the same. I don't know if you recognize, it's the same kind of thing. On the Snake Island in Ukraine, there were these 13 soldiers who were posted there. And a Russian warship comes and says, you better surrender. You better surrender or else. And these 13 soldiers, they're no match for the Russian warship. And they say, no, we're not going to surrender. We are here till the end. You better surrender now or we're going to shoot you. And they're like, you can hear them on the mic saying, this is it. 13 soldiers, they can surrender, they'll still live. They say, this is it. And they say on the microphone, go F yourself, Russian warship. And next seconds, the bombs come. Now that is the same kind of attitude of a spiritual warrior. Not even afraid, looking death in the face and standing by your dharma, not being afraid. This is tremendously powerful, right? That's the kind of attitude we want. Unafraid. Nirbhay, nirbhair. So this is where you ride the back of the tiger. Right? In the Tibetan tradition, they do some very extreme practices where you go to a graveyard, you take a human skull, you take a human thigh bone, and then you go tap, tap to make a sound, like using a skull like a little drum, tap, tap. And you invite all the ghosts to wake up. Please wake up, please wake up. Please wake up. All the ghosts here, please wake up. Come and get me. Most of me, who would ever do something like that? Who would dare to go to a graveyard, maybe on a new moon night when there's not even a moon, and you go tap, 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 come and get me? Who does that? One of two outcomes. You go crazy, you go mad, you go insane. Or you wake up. There is no third outcome. This is an extreme example of challenging yourself, going far beyond your comfort zone. Not recommended for beginners, but you don't know if you're a beginner or not. And we can in our own way start waking up to our power. So in today's session, I want to guide you through some practices that will take you from this fearful state of being in this forest with many unknown tigers and move through that until you're riding the back of the tiger. Did you see this, by the way, this documentary? I really recommend it. It's called My Ostrich Teacher, not Ostrich, My Octopus Teacher. My Octopus Teacher. I think it's on either on Netflix or on Amazon Prime. And it's one of the finest documentaries I've seen. It's about a man somewhere in Australia, I think. And he goes free diving. You know what free diving is? Free diving, you don't use oxygen. You just hold your breath. In rather cold waters near the Great Barrier Reef, he goes free diving. And how long can you hold your breath? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If you're very, very well trained, you can hold for 3 to 5 minutes. But usually that's how long. And so he goes, and for 1 full year without missing a day, he dives and he makes friends with an octopus. And it's fascinating. He films it the whole time. And the whole documentary is about this. There's one scene in that which I find particularly powerful. The predator of an octopus is a shark. There's a particular kind of shark. And this place is full of sharks. But this octopus is super clever at hiding himself. But at one point, the sharks sniff him. And he's in trouble because he can't outrun. All he can do is hide. He's not faster than a shark. An octopus is not faster than a shark. And this guy he's underwater, and he can only hold his breath for 3 minutes at a time. Then he has to come up and go down again. And so he's filming the parts and parts of what's happening over here. So the shark has smelt the octopus. It's after the octopus. It knows it's hiding somewhere. As the shark is coming, there's a bunch of algae and the octopus is hiding there. As the shark goes under it, this octopus jumps on the back of the shark. You're on the back of your predator. And the shark doesn't realize. And it's going on. And to me, that's a similar example in the animal kingdom of what I was talking about. You should watch that documentary, My Octopus Teacher. How intelligent, how smart. And then as the shark takes a sharp left, the octopus takes a sharp right and goes off and hides himself again. All right. awakening Shakti. So very briefly, there is Shiva, there is Shakti, and there is Nara. What is Shiva? Shiva means consciousness, that which knows. Right now, if you're hearing, seeing, feeling, that which knows that you are seeing, hearing, and all the other sense experience, that which is taking delivery of this experience, that is the Shiva in you. The Shiva in you is invisible. Of course, outwardly we have Shiva Murtis and all of that. But notice how Shiva is actually black. And the black represents nothing. You cannot actually paint a Shiva. Shiva is not a physical form. Shiva is consciousness. That, in fact, in the Sufi tradition, they have a beautiful name for this ultimate reality. It's called dazzling darkness. Think of it as black velvet, dazzling darkness. So this Shiva is dazzling darkness. It's dazzling because it illuminates the whole world, but itself it is dark, like a black sun. It illuminates the whole world, but itself cannot be known. So there's Shiva, which knows, that's consciousness, that which knows. And there's Shakti, which is the manifestation. So everything that is moving, vibrating, arises, passes, all beings, all trees, everything in existence, man-made, doesn't matter. It's all Shakti. It's moving, it's vibrating. In fact, there's a lovely story from Shankaracharya's life. He was so devoted to Shiva, so devoted to Advaita, that at one point, he simply collapsed. He couldn't move with a single finger. And Shakti was displeased with him. Itna Shiva, mera kya hai? You're only praying to Shiva, what about me? And in that moment, he realized, oh my goodness, I have neglected Shakti. So then he apologized. In his heart, he said, forgive me, mother, please forgive me. And then he got his life back. So then he also composed some of the finest scriptures on Shakti have come from Adi Shankara. So Adi Shankara had to realize that you can't just be devoted to, that's a one-sided enlightenment, to be only focused on consciousness. You have to also be devoted to manifestation, which is Shakti. So Shiva is consciousness, Shakti is the manifestation, or you could think it's the energy, consciousness and energy. And finally, you have Nara. What is Nara? Nara is the interface. Between Shiva and Shakti, there's an interface. And what's that interface? That interface is you. That interface is me. All right? I am the interface between the knowing and the pulsating, vibrating, creating. I am that interface. And that is the individuated self. You can think of yourself, myself, each one of us is like a divine child. Divine child, who are the parents? Shiva and Shakti are the parents. Or in a more poetic way, Alan Watts said that you and I are the nerve endings of the universe. I don't know if any of you have a garden at home. And some of these tendrils of these plants, you see how exploratory they are? They're always trying to find, like creepers, looking for the next thing to hold on to. They're so exploratory, they're always trying to find. So you and I are the tendrils. We are the nerve endings of the universe. A universe that's trying to know itself. So Shiva and Shakti want to know themselves. The only way they can know themselves is through their child. And who is their child? You and I are their child. And so we are here for a very simple reason. We are here to grow in consciousness and grow in energy. Grow in wisdom and grow in power. Get in touch with our love and our power. There's a nice way that one of my teachers, Nisargadatta Maharaj, he said, when I see myself as everything, that is love. When I see myself as nothing, that is wisdom. And between these two, this life flows. How beautiful is that? So we are here to see ourselves as everything and as nothing and as something. And that's why it's called Trika, three things. Shiva, Shakti, Nara. So what the Westerners call, the British call Kashmir Shaivism, actually in India is called Trika. It's a system of three, understanding the three ultimate realities. Shiva, Shakti, and Nara. Let's do a practice. So I'd like you to, in the beginning, keep your eyes open. Just look around wherever you are. this practice comes from the Shiv Sutras. Looking around wherever you are and reflect. I'm going to say some words. I want you to repeat these words in your mind, or if you would prefer saying them, you can say them. I am Shiva. And I am the center of all of this. All this is occurring within my awareness. So as you're looking around with open eyes, instead of saying I'm Nitya or I'm Komal or whatever, say, I am Shiva. And I am at the center of all of this. All this is occurring within my awareness. Fully understand that while you are at the center right now, if you moved across the room, you would still be at the center of the room. Even if you went to another room, you would still be at the center. Wherever you go in this world, you are in the center. And that is why you are Shiva, always at the center. I am Shiva. I am at the center of all of this. All this is occurring within my awareness. Now please close your eyes, everyone. Vameshwari Shakti, Supreme Shakti. Feel the life force and energy running through you. And say to yourself, O Supreme Energy, you create my whole universe. O my Shakti, you are supremely powerful. O Supreme Shakti, you create my whole universe. O my Shakti, you are supremely powerful. And this is the moment where I'd like you to reclaim your power. So feel the power in your hair. Feel the power in your brain. Feel the power in your eyebrows. Feel the power in your eyes. Feel the power in your breath. Feel the power in your teeth and tongue. Feel the power in your ears. Feel the power in your head. Feel the power in your throat and neck. Feel the power in your shoulders. Feel the power in both your hands, down to your fingertips. Feel the power in your chest. Feel the power in your heart. Reclaim the power in your heart. Goddess, Shakti, Divine Mother, in your heart. From your heart, it continues to flow. Your lungs, your entire upper body. Feel the power in your gut. Let your entire microbiome be updated to pure Shakti, pure power. Feel the power throughout your spinal column, like electricity. Wake up from whatever you've been told about yourself. Enough of dreaming, enough of limitation. Feel the power like electricity flowing throughout your spinal column. Some parts of your back are feeling this for the first time. Feel the power racing down both your legs. Both your legs down to your toes are filled with power, filled with Shakti. O Supreme Energy, you create my whole universe. O my Shakti, you are supremely powerful. Please energize me completely. And specifically, let's make a request. O Supreme Shakti, awaken the parts of me that have long been dormant, long been neglected, long been forgotten. I want to reclaim my full power. And over the next minute, hidden parts of you will open up. Hidden parts of you will open up. Get energized. Head is energized. Brain is energized. Back is energized. Lungs are energized. Fingers are energized. Toes are energized. Breath is energized. Gut is energized. Everything is so energized. Getting supercharged. On this Mahashivratri, let's get supercharged. Let's fully claim and own our energy. Next level of this practice, Khechari Shakti, the individual self. Now feel your eye. Where is your eye? In this moment, recognize that your personal eye is actually Shiva's eye. What you think is your eye is Shiva. What you think is you is actually Shiva. You just didn't know it. You just didn't recognize it. Have a sense of your own vastness. And you're continuing to reclaim your Shakti, reclaim your power. Gochari Shakti, Shakti of the mind. Talk to your mind lovingly. O goddess of my mind, please think exalted thoughts, beautiful thoughts. Please see everything with divine understanding, divine wisdom. Please see through all anger, fear, comparison, self-pity, and any other thoughts that create weakness. O goddess of my mind, please remember Shiva. Dikchari Shakti, the senses. Speak to your senses. O goddesses of my senses, you exist within me. I love to see, to hear, to feel, to smell, and to taste. O goddesses of my senses, what a rich world you let me experience. You make me want to forget myself in you. Although you tempt me, I will never forget the self. Shiva. Bahuchari Shakti, the outer world. O goddess of everything I perceive, you exist only because I am here to observe you. Although you seem separate from me, you exist within me as consciousness itself. Though you try to separate from me, to confuse me, I am onto your trick. You are reflected in my true self. The Shiva Sutras invite us to meditate on these Shaktis. Starting with Shiva, I am Shiva, I am at the center of all of this. All of this occurs within my awareness. And then we activate all the Shakti, the Supreme Shakti, Vameshwari Shakti, the life force within you and around you. The Khechari Shakti, the individual self, the sense of I. The Gochari Shakti, the mind, the thoughts. Dikchari Shakti, senses. Bahuchari Shakti, outer world. When Shiva is at the center, all the Shaktis are fully active, fully balanced. When you imagine you are at the center, all the Shaktis are out of balance and they're up to their own mischief. So we wake up the inner Shiva to truly claim our full inheritance, our full power. Be quiet for the next 30 seconds. So the first transmission, the first activation is a shift from imagining you are at the center of all of this, personality, to Shiva is at the center of all of this, which is essence. Personality to presence to essence. And Shiva is at the center of all of this. Everything is in harmony, everything is in balance. This is how we awake within the dream. And take a deep breath. And whenever you're ready, slowly open your eyes. If you want to rub your palms together, you can. Bring them over your eyes. Nice. Well done. Beautiful story from the scriptures of this man who prays for 30 years. He prays to Lord Shiva. And he only has one wish. I want to see you. I want to know you. 30 years go by. And he has many experiences, but he still hasn't seen Shiva. So one day, he's very upset with Shiva and says, 30 years I've been praying to you. I've done all the pujas, all the mantras, all the rituals. I've been to all the tirthan, and you have still not revealed yourself to me. So I have not left a single stone unturned. I have done everything. I've been super sincere. And I'm now very upset with you because 30 years have gone. I don't know if I'll get to see you in this lifetime. So if you don't show me who you are, I'm going to give up this Shiva sadhana. I'm going to say this is either is not for me or it's completely a lie. With that upset state of mind, he falls asleep. And at night he has a dream in which he hears a voice. Son, I will reveal myself to you. I'm pleased with your sadhana. Tomorrow I will reveal myself to you. How will I know it's you? He asks. How will I know it's you? He asks. And the voice replies, I will be the one without a head. You're one without a head. Okay. So he wakes up in the morning. He remembers the dream very clearly. He's very excited. Today Shiva will reveal himself. So he's looking, he's waiting to see who will come, who is without a head. He keeps looking around. Different people come. Everyone's got a head. Animals come, animals also got a head. Birds come, birds also got a head. Who is it the one without a head? He's very mystified. And the whole day is going hour after hour. Was it just a false dream? I mean, what's happening? I don't see anyone without a head. And now the sun is setting and he's beginning to lose faith. And he sees his own shadow on the ground. The outline of his body. But he's shocked to find, even though the outline, the shadow seems to show a head, he can't see his own head. And he's shocked to find that, try it right now, right? Can you see your own, can you really see directly, can you see your own face? So I see my hands, at the most I can see my shoulders. And I don't see a face, I just see a room. So the story is saying that we're looking in the wrong place. Tattvam Asi, you are that. At the center, Shiva is not somewhere to be seen outside. Shiva is at the center. Shiva has hidden himself in the one place he knows that you would never look. The very center of your experience. So who is the headless one? You are the headless one. Your whole life, you are the headless one. You are the one without a head. You can only imagine your head. In fact, children don't recognize their face in the mirror. You might have noticed. You have to point out to them, that's you. And in the photograph, they don't recognize them. That's you, that's you. Little by little, they're taught that's you. On their own, they don't have a sense of that's you. So this is the headless way. This is at the center of our experience, is Shiva. And Shiva cannot be defined. Shiva does not have any attributes. See, I can point my finger to many things in the room. I can point to the wall, to the painting, to the sofa. I can describe the wall is kind of yellowish in color. The sofa has got 4 legs. I can talk about how heavy it is. I can talk about what it's made of. I can talk about my hand also. I thought, okay, this hand is, muscles and nerves and sinews and whatever the color of my skin. But then when I point here, now to the place I'm pointing, now how do I describe it? See, where this is pointing, I can say color, all the things, temperature, all the attributes, right? Heavy, soft, hard, all of that. I can describe things. But here, I can't describe it. How come I can't describe it? Well, this is Shiva. Shiva is not far away. Shiva is right here, right at the center of your experience, always. So now let me give you something more practical. Sometimes this seems very elevated and lofty. Let me make it very practical for you. And let's work with emotions, all right? So this is something you will experience on a daily basis. Emotions, energy in motion. So emotion, energy in motion. What are your unpleasant emotions? Energy in not having emotion, constipation. When your energy is not having emotion, that is an unpleasant emotion. When your energy is flowing very softly, very smoothly, very beautifully, that's a pleasant emotion. And there's one stage beyond that, you come to it. So let me guide you through this. The first time I recommend you start with an unpleasant emotion. Once you've learned it, you can even do it with any emotion, pleasant, unpleasant, doesn't matter. But the first time, do it with an unpleasant emotion. If you currently cannot access an unpleasant emotion, then you think of something that happened recently. Typically, most of us, 1 week back, 1 month back, something has happened that has ruffled you up a little bit. So go to that memory. Otherwise, work with your current unpleasant emotion, situation in your life. All right. So step 1, tune in to an emotion. First time you're doing this, I recommend doing unpleasant emotion. Examples of unpleasant emotion: anxiety, sadness, fear, anger, jealousy. There are many more. And I want you to tune into it so that you can feel it. See, this journey is from thinking to feeling to being. Thinking is the masculine, feeling is the feminine, and being is the Tao, which is beyond the yin and the yang. Right? Thinking, feeling, being. Male, female, beyond male and female, integrating male and female. So now I want you to feel, now that you've tuned into this, feel it. Feel it. And don't be afraid of it. Anything you do consciously is not a problem. Anything you do, this is how those Tibetan practitioners go to a graveyard and they say, wake up, come get me. Nothing will happen. Because anything you do consciously is not a problem. So now you use a simple statement, I am dash. What is the dash? For example, sad. I am sad. I am upset. I am concerned. I am edgy, whatever word comes to you. So go ahead. I am, fill in the blanks. And having said that, notice how it feels. Feel it fully. Next one. Now change the sentence to, I feel dash. For example, I feel sad. I feel edgy. I feel anxious. Choose one word. I feel dash. Notice the shift that happened from saying I am dash to I feel dash. Just notice. We'll talk to you later on. For now, just notice. Next step. Say the statement, I am aware of feeling dash. For example, I am aware of feeling sad. I'm aware of feeling edgy. I'm aware of feeling conflicted. Now notice what happened in this third statement. Next statement. Dash is welcome. For example, sadness is welcome. Anxiety is welcome. Fear is welcome. Say that and genuinely welcome it. Notice how this statement affects you. Dash is welcome. Something will shift. And the last one, which is the crown jewel of this practice, awareness and dash are not separate. For example, awareness and sadness are not separate. Awareness and anxiety are not separate. Awareness and fear are not separate. So you say it for whatever you're working with. If you want a very short instruction for enlightenment, this would be it. Notice awareness. Notice what is arising within awareness. And notice that awareness and what is arising within it are not two, not separate. That's the shortcut to enlightenment. Awareness and dash are not separate. Go through the steps with me again so you remember the practice. I am dash. For example, I am sad. I feel dash. For example, I feel sad. I'm aware of feeling dash. For example, I am aware of feeling sad. Sadness is welcome. Awareness and dash are not separate. Awareness and sadness are not separate. Between each of these steps, you pause and you feel the quality of your experience. The journey you've made is from a personality identifying with emotions to feeling the emotion, to being aware of feeling the emotion, to welcoming the emotion. Emotion, energy starts to be in motion. To finally, awareness is not separate from this emotion, which means Shiva is experiencing this emotion. From I am sad to awareness is not separate from sadness. This is Shiva's Lila. This is Shiva's play. This is how you wake up. This is how every experience becomes the fuel for your awakening. Every single experience. Bring it on. Spiritual warriors. From being spiritual warriors, afraid of this and that and all the rest, to spiritual warriors. Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. You can forget many things in this session. Just remember these 5 steps. What are the 5 steps? I am dash. I feel dash. I am aware of feeling dash. Dash is welcome. Awareness and dash are not separate. Pausing between each of the steps. I want you to repeat this process again and again and again until it becomes a strong neural pathway for you. You can go through the stages quite quickly. This is how you start supercharging your life. This is how all the blocked things within you. See, just because we've given you a transmission today, doesn't mean that your blockages will instantly disappear. In some ways, they will be more evident than ever after the session. And that's not a problem. That's a blessing. Things want to now move through you. How do you do that? You have to break the identification from poor little me, victim consciousness. Poor me, poor me, poor me. I am, whatever it is. I am lonely. Oh, I'm lonely. I feel lonely. I'm aware of feeling lonely. Loneliness is welcome. Awareness and loneliness are not separate. There is nothing in your life that cannot be put through these 5 steps that will not reveal their true nature. God in clever disguise. See, this whole life is a very advanced game of hide and there's a lovely teaching from the non-dual tradition which says, Samsara fully penetrated. What is samsara? This world. Right? Samsara fully penetrated is nirvana. Nirvana rightly understood is samsara. Samsara fully penetrated is nirvana. And nirvana rightly understood is samsara. This is how you go beyond the duality of nirvana and samsara. Very beautiful. I think this is good for, I had some more things, but I think I don't want to overdo it. So this is good for today. And let's have some interaction now. So over to Komal.
Thank you so much, Nitya, for taking us. Just a second. Okay. Thank you so much, Nitya, for taking us through this experiential journey. I can still feel the vibrations in my entire body. There's these little tiny sparks and meridians that are just buzzing with electricity at the moment. At this moment, I open up the floor for everyone. If you would raise your hands to share your experience, or if you have a question to raise and ask Nitya, this would be an appropriate moment to clear your doubts, share your experiences. You may also type your question in the chat or raise your hands and we can unmute you then.
There's only one question by Nilima. She's saying, when I see dash as everything. So basically Maharaj said, Nisargadatta Maharaj said, when I see myself as everything, that is love. When I see myself as nothing, that is wisdom. Between these two, this life flows. So the recommendation would be that learn to see yourself as everything. See, in India, this is called neti neti and iti iti. What is neti neti? I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. Right? So the world will put so many, will, Hindi mein kehte hain chipkao. They'll put so many ideas on you. You're this, you're this, you're this. Your parents will say you're this, your company will say you're this, your friends will say you're this, you're this, you're this. Labels, endless labels. And yeah, at one level, maybe you are in some ways. But remember, you are at one level, you're none of that. This is all relative stuff. When they say you're very, Nitya, you're a very good speaker. Yeah, it's relative. In some ways, in some contexts, I'm a good speaker. You make me talk about stock markets, I'll not be such a good speaker. I'll suddenly be very tongue-tied. So in some context, on some subject, maybe I'm a good speaker. Make me speak in another language, maybe I'm not such a good speaker anymore. Right? Make me talk to very young children who are very distracted. Maybe I'm not such a great speaker anymore. It's all based on the context. So nothing that you can say about yourself or anybody is absolutely true. It's true in a relative context. So neti, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. This is the first part of the journey. The second part of the journey is iti, I'm also this, I'm also this, I'm also this. So we've heard the saying, when you point a finger at someone, many fingers point back at you. So be aware, whatever you're saying that wo aise hai, wo aise hai. So one fun way of doing this is, and I hope you actually do this, this is a mark of wisdom. I don't think you will, after today's session, stop criticizing people, stop judging people. Probably you still will. But add one little line at the end of it. So when you say that person's so selfish, that person thinks so much of themselves, when you add one little line, think just like me.
Just like me.
Because that's honest. Right? Because iti, that is me. I'm only seeing a reflection. What I'm projecting. I'm projecting the parts of myself I have disowned onto the other person. Just like me, just like me. I had a friend who said, Nitya, I'm so self-critical. You're asking me to say just like me, it's going to get worse. As it is, I'm so self-critical. All the time I'm saying I'm horrible. So then for her, I said, when you criticize someone, you add a statement saying, just like everyone. Right? Like everyone. That person is so selfish. Just like everyone. We're all to some extent selfish. That person is so small-minded. Just like everyone. In some ways, we're all small-minded. So like this iti, neti. This is what Maharaj was saying. When I see myself as nothing, that is wisdom. When I see myself as everything, that is love. Between these two, this life flows. Please define Shakti. Shakti is, the most basic sense is it is power. It is manifestation. It is a power that animates all things. Right? Like chess pieces. Chess pieces by themselves are inert. Somebody has to move chess pieces. Your senses are inert. You see, your eyes and ears and nose and tongue are just like a dead person's. There's not much difference. Someone who just died right now. There's no difference. The difference is that there is a Shakti in it. The Shakti is what gives energy to your eyes and your nose and your ears. That is what animates. This is how Adi Shankara fell to the ground. He couldn't move. Because Shakti says, all right, I withdraw then. If you don't think you need me, then I'm going to withdraw. And he couldn't move. Oh my goodness, I made a mistake. I have to equally worship Shiva and Shakti. Shiva and his manifestation. And Namita, go ahead.
So my question is, when you were giving the 5 steps, the last one you said that whatever you're experiencing, whatever emotion it is, and that experience is not separate from
awareness.
From awareness. Yes. And how do you explain that? I didn't get that part.
Yeah, sure.
Very well.
So when you look in a mirror, you know that the mirror's job is to reflect. Yeah. At the same time, a mirror will reflect many things, right? So maybe you have a mirror in your house, and many people have used the mirror to fix their hair and to comb their, to brush their teeth and fix their clothes. And the mirror in the course of its lifetime will reflect many, many, many things. So the images in the mirror keep changing, reflections keep changing. Now I ask you to separate. Okay, now since it keeps the mirror doesn't change, but the reflections keep changing. So let's separate now. Let's find the point where mirror is separate from the reflections. Best of luck. Best of luck. Best of luck finding, how do you find the line? No, this is mirror, this is reflection. You can't. We say mirror and reflection, but mirror and reflection are one. We say television and the image is appearing, but what is the television without images appearing? You can't separate these things. We say sky and clouds, but how do you separate it? You can't really separate it. So this is why it appears awareness and what's appearing within awareness is separate. But this is a concept. In reality, there is no separation. This is how you pierce the bubble of ignorance. This assumption of separation. This is what I didn't mention today. We'll see before we end if you want to do it. There are 6 limitations which keep us away from Shiva. And one of the limitations, it's called kanchukas in Sanskrit. One of the kanchukas is a sense of individuality. I'm this individual. I'm aware. Oh, you're aware? I'm aware of this and this and this. In reality, that Shiva and Shakti are actually not separate. Shiva and Shakti, Ardhanareshwara, we have that image. Shiva and Shakti have merged. So there is awareness, there is the activity that arises within our awareness, and these are not separate, these are not two. Every time you see this non-separation, in that moment you have woken up from the dream. Then again we go back to the dream. But these waking up glimpses, glimpse after glimpse after glimpse, you are tearing away at your root limitation, your root kanchuka, which is a sense of separation, individuality. And this is how you start waking up to your true nature. So if it's a new idea, I can understand that this is a little bit unsettling or difficult to understand. But keep going in that direction. You will start recognizing there is non-separation between awareness. How do you, find the line. Find the line that separates awareness from what you're aware of. Right? Go look for that line. Can I find the line? On this side is awareness, on that side is manifestation. So go looking for that line. You'll find there is no such line.
I don't know, I might just bog down the group, but but let me just sort of say what's coming to my mind. So if you're sort of aware of what is and you understand the line, then you're basically controlling your reaction. Is it?
The idea of a controller is one of the illusions, that I am in control, right? This is one of the features of our ego. Ego wants to be in control. But really, what are you controlling? Did you control when you were born? Did you control your gender? Did you control, what you're good at, what you're bad at? Go looking for what you actually control. You'll find there's very little. At the very most, what you could say there is a very thin amount of control is the capacity to get immersed in your experience versus to stand back from your experience. This witnessing, this drashta bhav. At the most, the only little free will you have is to stand back and know, oh, this is happening. Awareness of what is happening. So if you have to say there's free will, that's probably the only free will. Everything else is completely conditioned. And it may appear like it's not, but when you look deeply, you find it's completely conditioned. This is the only thing. And this little thing is that one little, which is why we talk about the present moment being so powerful. This is the one, this is the secret, this is the key that liberates us. All the traditions talk about this one way or the other.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat box. How to see positive in every situation? This is raised by Natasha.
Let's go beyond this positive, negative. I think we played this game a long time now. I think it's time to now get a little bit more mature. So please find me a battery which only has a positive pole and no negative. Please find me a magnet that only has a positive pole. That's not such thing. Positive and negative go together. So instead of looking for the positive in everyone, I want you to look at totality. There is totality. I don't know if this has been my experience. You check if it's been your experience. Sometimes when there is conflict in the family, soon after that, there is much greater love. Have you noticed that? There is misunderstanding with someone. Soon after that, there is much more love. Isn't that true? We need to lose, like for example, during the lockdown, we lost so many of our freedoms, basic freedoms of moving around and simple things like meeting our family. And then we got them back. It was such a huge relief. Wow, how good it is. How good it is to walk, how good it is to meet someone. So these things go together. You would not appreciate the things you have right now if you did not, to some extent, not have them at some point. So instead of looking for the positive in everyone, I want you to see totality in everyone. Experience things from the perspective of totality. This is Shiva in clever disguise. This is God in clever disguise. What is God? G-O-D, grand overall design. So go beyond what is positive and negative apart from its perspective, right? From one perspective, something is positive. From another perspective, something is negative. That's based on your preferences. Based on your personality, you decide what's positive and negative. You know, you got a big discount. That's good news. That's positive. But for the other person, they had to give it to you very cheap. They're not so happy. Like I was noticing, I was in a taxi in Thailand, and we had famous traffic jams in Bangkok. And his taxi meter is going. Traffic jam or no traffic jam? Traffic. And I'm thinking, my goodness, how much I have to pay this guy? 2 hours it's taken me. And I noticed from my perspective that meter is going way too fast. But I'm pretty sure from that taxi guy's perspective, that meter is going way too slow. His life is depending on this meter. And it's way too slow. He has so many bills to pay. You see, what's positive, what's negative? So look beyond that, look at it from the perspective of totality. From the perspective of totality, everything is Purnamada, Purnamada. Everything is in balance. That is the way to go beyond karmas. That is the way to go from karma to dharma. You see things from the perspective of totality. So yes, in the initial stages, we want to go from negative thinking to positive thinking. Then from positive thinking to being a channel of blessings. But beyond that, we want to wake up from the dream. Thank you. I think Anita Dua was kind of physically raising her hand for a long time. You want to check with Anita? Unmute, Anita.
Sorry, I think my question got answered, which was about the duality. If Shiva is separate from Shakti, and Shiva is in the center and the Shakti is around, and there has to be the fusion of two. So that's a bit confusing, you know. I mean, it was like a riddle.
Yeah, it's a riddle.
But in reality, there's no separation. Everything is one.
It is.
So
but this is the hide and seek. This is exactly the hide and seek. This is, now we don't know why, but Shiva has chosen to forget. Shiva has chosen to forget. And so this is where it gets even more interesting when, like the way I like to say it is, enjoy the illusion while it lasts. Enjoy the dream while it lasts. It is Shiva's will that you are as wise or as deluded as you are. So suppose I even surrender that. Suppose, like my teacher said something very powerful once. He said that if you get it quickly, good for you. But if it takes you a long, long, long time, even better. We said, why is it better if it takes a long time? You're going to be confused and suffering for a long time. He said, no, it's even better. Why? Because the one who gets to their destination quickly, good for them. But the one who's lost their way for a long time will be an excellent guide. Have you noticed the best players are not the best coaches? The average players tend to be the better coaches. Why? Because they've struggled to learn those skills. So they're better at transferring the skills. Someone who's just being natural aptitude, they don't make the best coaches. So this is the funny thing. If you're confused, if it doesn't make sense, I mean, some of you may be liking my talk, you're finding a lot of clarity. That's because I've been confused for a very long time. Confusion precedes clarity. The more deeply confused you've been, the better the clarity will be. It has to be. That's just the way it works. So this is how God is playing hide and seek. Shiva had the only game left in town for a Shiva, for a God, for universal consciousness. The only game left in town is to forget that you are all and everything. That is the only game left. And then to rediscover. So then you dream of being a mineral. And then from the mineral, you become a plant. And then from the plant, you become an animal. And then from the animal, you become a human. And then in the human, the beingness starts to awaken. Because eternity this is the game of eternity now, right? This is how you go. This is the only game left in town, to forget that you are all. There is no other game left.
I think there are a lot of riddles, you know.
It is a riddle.
Involved. But I think the simplest, personally for me, is just to surrender.
Yeah, beautiful.
To that power, to that Shakti.
That is it.
And see your manifestation in that Shakti and that Shakti in you.
Perfect.
So that you go ahead with your...
Let thy will be done. Let thy. And the surrender also, you're saying simply to surrender, but that surrender is also a riddle. Who is surrendering, right? It is Shiva's will that you surrender. That statement did not come out of your mouth from Anita's will. It was Shiva's will. So this is where it gets so powerful. It's like, oh, Shiva made me have faith. You know, that ultimate chose to, like, you think you're having bhakti with Krishna or Shiva or Ganesha. No. Ganesha chose for you to have bhakti.
Because you feel very light then. You feel very light. You feel unburdened. It's his responsibility. I mean, everything will be taken care of.
That's why I named my book Unburdened.
Unburdened. I must do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Komal, is there something I've missed?
Nilima Datta has a question.
Nilima, go ahead,
Nilima, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, hello.
Hi,
I'm
Nilima.
listening you for the second time, and this time you are just amazing.
Always, yes.
Yeah, I want to know what are the 6 limitations which keep us away from Shiva?
All right. How about I end with that? So we'll kind of end with a small practice, which will be the 6th limitation practice, Kanchukas. And the reason we become aware of the 6 limitations, of course, is to go beyond the 6 limitations. So instead of just listing it, which is not as powerful, I will actually take you through it. So if there are any other questions, I'll answer that first. And any other announcements?
One more thing is when sansar fully penetrates its nirvana, and what is fully understand that second line?
When nirvana rightly understood is samsara.
Okay, thank you.
Samsara fully penetrated in nirvana, and nirvana rightly understood is samsara.
Thank you.
There's one question by Jyoti Kashyap. I think that's the last one on board. How to make ourselves calm? Someone is saying bad things about us.
I didn't get the full question. How to
make ourselves calm if someone is saying bad things about us?
देखो पहले तो grain of truth. वो जो भी कह रहे हैं कुछ तो सही है जरूर उसमें. Because iti, right? Neti, iti, iti. Neti, I am not that, I am not that, I am not. But then iti, deeper wisdom is actually I am some of that. It is not true that they are entirely lying. There is some grain of truth. So this much wisdom we should have, that no one is entirely talking basely. There is a little bit. 1% to hai usme. So there is some truth. And then of course today you've learned a very powerful practice. So for example, when they say that about you, what does it bring up? Anger, bring up righteousness, indignation, you feel disrespected. All right. So what have we learned today? I am angry. For example, easy one is I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm feeling upset. I'm aware that I'm feeling upset. Upset is welcome. Awareness and upset are not separate. Go through these 5 steps and the pauses in between, and then let that Shiva, let that presence decide what is to be done. You will find that is the Shiva is activating the Shakti. Then you'll find a different kind of Shakti wakes up. Somebody came to the Buddha and abused him, said very horrible, mean things to him, and didn't just stop there, spat on him and went away. At night time, this man, while sleeping, it occurred to him that even if I don't agree with this Buddha fellow, I didn't have to spit on him. I think I went a bit too far. I spat on him. Nowhere in the Shastras does it say you should spit on the people you disagree with. So this much wisdom he had. Next day he comes and he apologizes. He says, Gautama, I still don't agree with you, but I went a bit too far. I spat on you, so I apologize. So Buddha says, no need to apologize. No need to apologize. But don't you remember yesterday I came, I said all these things, I spat on you. He said, yeah, but that person is not here now. And those words are not here now. And that spit is not here now. You see, for the Buddha, in that very moment, it was done. It was finished. Words arose, passed away. Emotions arose, passed away. Spit, what is spit? Your mouth's full of spit. Why are you so afraid of somebody else's spit? This is water element. You attach a meaning to that spit. I got disrespected. Right? That is the problem, not the spit. So we are then moving toward that Buddha state where it is all right. If we are very honest, we have also played these games. We are not so innocent. We have also gone around talking about people behind their back. We have also gone around saying unfair things without checking. So then karma bites. Welcome. Now the wheel is coming around. Don't be so. Bring it on. Bring it on. This is good. This is all healthy. A short way of saying this is all good medicine. Medicine for what? Not the bhang medicine that some of you will have today. This is the medicine that wakes you up from the dream of being an individual self. So relationships are a mirror. They're here to show you who you really are, not who you think you are. As long as you think I'm only this and I'm not that, you are going to get scraped. You're going to get polished. And the more tightly you hold on to your identity, the more it's going to hurt. And the more, which is why we recommend do some spiritual practice, it'll make your life easier. You're going to get the full, it's going to come. The gunshots are coming. But can you make yourself more transparent? Then things will move through you. And every time they move through you, they'll pull along with you some deeper sanskara, some underlying tendency towards greed or hatred or delusion. And you're left lighter and lighter and lighter, freer and freer and freer. You unburden yourself. This is how you shift from personality to presence to essence. And that's our journey. All right, should we end with a, did you have some announcement, Komal? We can end with a practice? Otherwise it'll kind of, let me just, you do your announcement, then we'll end with a little practice.
Okay. So may I invite Dr. Anuradha Mala to deliver the vote of thanks and felicitate Nitya Shantiji. Post that, we are going to wrap up the session with a practice that Nitya wants.
6 Kanchakas.
Wonderful. Over to Anuradha ji.
Good evening, all. And I'm still reeling with all the energy flowing up here and all the questions being answered. And I must say, on behalf of Flow Uttarakhand and all the people present, my heartfelt gratitude to our wonderful speaker for the day, Nitya Shanti ji. And it is such an amazing experience that on the day of Shivratri, we could witness and we could feel all the energy which we could get. Amazing, and I'm really looking forward to the session, what we end with. And again, Komal, excellent choice of speakers you have been introducing all of us to. And I noticed, and I would like to thank our past president, Usha Agarwala ji, Ritu Das, who've been there with us this evening, our national treasurer, Poonam Mahajan, and the past chairpersons from Flow chapters, current chapter chairs, GB members, and our founding chairperson, Shilpi Arora. Great to see you after a long gap. And thank you so much, our immediate past chairperson, Kiran Bhatt, to be here with us this evening, and all the Flow members and their families pan-India who have taken out the time today to witness this enlightenment. And again, my heartfelt gratitude to Komal and our, not to miss our secretary Tipri Behel and our treasurer Smriti Batta and our IT team. Thank you so much for making this evening possible. Thank you. And I would request the IT team to please bring forward the e-certificate. And Komal, this is a little piece of gratitude from our side. Thank you so much for the beautiful session.
Thank you. Love it. Thank you. Very beautifully designed.
Over to Komal now. You can proceed with the session again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anu. Nitya, all yours.
All right, let's end with this practice called the 6 limitation, the 6 Kanchakas. This is in Kashmir Shaivism or Trika philosophy. This is how we get separated step by step from our true nature. So since the session is about awakening Shakti, then these 6 limitations are what are keeping you from your full Shakti. So let's just go through this before we end. Close your eyes. First limitation, the limitation of time. Time is running out. Session is almost over. I have to go for another call. Welcome to the limitation of time. All the ways in which you worry about how old you are. Oh my goodness, 30 already. Oh my goodness, 40 already. Oh my goodness, 50 already. Kanchaka of time, limitation of time. You have been bitten by the serpent of time. All the ways in which you feel rushed and hurried and, oh, I wish I'd done this sooner or later. You have been bitten by the serpent of time. This is the Kanchaka of time. So the first limitation, the first way in which you separate yourself from your true nature is by believing in the concept of time, coming and going. Just recognizing this Kanchaka already is enough to start putting you in a timeless state. Have you noticed that nature never hurries, yet everything gets done? Human beings are always hurrying. We always have more to do. So let us access our true nature. Who are you without the Kanchuka of time? Not bound by your age, not bound by this century and this date. Shivratri is always, not just tonight, without the Kanchuka of time. Second Kanchuka, second limitation, the limitation of location, space. So if you think you're in Dehradun, or if you think you're in Delhi, or if you think you're in this room of the house, upstairs or downstairs, inside or outside, you have been bitten by the serpent of location. Limited in space. I'm here, so I cannot be there. I'm in India, so I cannot be in America. I'm upstairs, so I can't be downstairs. I'm in this female body, therefore I don't know what it's like to be in a male body. Any way in which you identify of yourself as being limited by space, you have been bitten by the serpent of the limitation of space, location. Second Kanchuka. Who are you without the assumption that you're only in some place and not in every place? Who told you you're only in some place? How did you believe it so easily? What evidence do you have? You are only here and not everywhere all at once. Third Kanchuka limitation, the limitation of attachment. I definitely need so-and-so person in my life. I definitely need so much money in my life. I definitely need roti, kapda, makan. Oh, really? Who told you all these things? I definitely need air to breathe. At least water I should get. So attachment, without this I cannot be. Without this I cannot be. Oh, really? You're dependent on the elements. You're dependent on others. You're dependent on all of these things to be. You've been bitten by the serpent of attachment. You have fallen prey to believing you're dependent on the universe, when in actuality, this entire universe is dependent on you. Without you as awareness, none of this can be. The third Kanchuka is being attached to people and things and experiences and believing without them, you are not complete. And that is simply not true. Who are you without the limitation of attachment? Sometimes we're even attached to the idea of attachment. Oh, it's very hard to let go of attachment. Oh, really? Where did you get that from? That's a Kanchuka of a Kanchuka. Attachment to attachment. Who are you without these sticky ideas? Please explain this again, someone's saying. All right. So attachment, stickiness, the belief that without this and that, I am not complete. Who are you without the limitation of attachment? Without my books, without my degrees, without my money, without my belongings, without my relatives, I'm not okay. Don't you feel quite okay when you sleep at night? You lose your home, your money, your name, your relatives when you sleep, but you're quite okay. You are just fine without all of this. Don't fool yourself. Third attachment with attachment, stickiness, Kanchuka of attachment. Fourth Kanchuka, Kanchuka of knowledge. I know this and I don't know that. Oh, really? Who told you that you know this and you don't know that? Where did you come to believe this? This I know, that I don't know. This I understand, that I don't understand. All the ways in which you believe that you know something, you don't know other things. You've been bitten by the serpent of knowledge, the Kanchuka of knowledge, the limitation of knowledge. I know English, I don't know French. I know how to stitch. I don't know how to ride a horse. These are things that you have assumed. Who are you without this assumption that you only know some things? You don't know other things. Who are you without that assumption? Is it not true, for example, some of you are mothers, that the motherly instinct just arose and you just knew what the child needs? So if it could just arise from inside of you, why can't all knowledge just arise from inside of you? Who told you you have to go to a university to get these things? And whoever teaches in the university, where did he or she get it from? Didn't it just arise from within? So why can't it arise within you? So go beyond the kanchaka of knowledge. Fourth kanchaka, fourth limitation. Fifth limitation, the limitation of skill. Similar to the fourth one. I can do this, I can't do that. I can eat with fork and spoon. I can't eat with chopsticks. Oh. I can knot a tie. I can't wear a sari. All the things you assume you cannot do, you're incapable of doing. I cannot lift this, it's too heavy. I cannot overcome this challenge. I don't have that capacity. I can't negotiate. I'm not a good bargainer. Oh, really? Who are you without all of these ideas that I can and cannot do certain things? The limitation of skill. I lack this skill. I have this skill. Every skill you now have, there was a time you didn't have. So how do you know that all other skills also you cannot have? Every way in which you limit yourself in this way is being bitten by the serpent of skills. Final kanchaka, the root kanchaka actually, the last one, sixth kanchaka, the limitation of individuality. I'm a separate being. This is the one all the other five stick on to. I am this body, I am this mind, I am this ego, I am this personality, I'm an introvert, oh, I'm an extrovert. All the ways in which you describe yourself, maybe you're even proud of those things. Maybe you don't like those things. But this is the root kanchaka, all the ways in which you feel separate from others and from life, the limitation of individuality. 6 kanchakas. So who are you, even for a micro moment? Who are you without the limitation of time, without the limitation of space, without the limitation of attachments, without the limitation of knowledge, without the limitation of skills, without the limitation of individuality? In this moment, have you not reclaimed your inheritance? Have you not fully awakened your Shakti? Have you not become one with Shakti? Have you not become one with the dance, which is Shiva and Shakti? The more still you get, the more everything is in flow. The more you flow, the more everything is still. When the Buddhists meditate, they feel the dance within. When the Sufis whirl, they feel the stillness within. And this is how Shiva and Shakti complement each other, depend on each other, fulfill each other. And we are the children of Shiva and Shakti. And we are reclaiming our inheritance step by step. We are waking up to our true nature. Each time we step out of these 6 limitations, we come back to our true nature. Again, 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 glimpse after glimpse after glimpse. And I'll take a slow deep breath. Whatever we have shared today, discussed today, practiced today, let it create a permanent shift, permanent shift in your knowledge, knowing that you are nothing but power. You're not here to seek love. You are here to own your power. The more you own your power, the love will be available to you. The more you own your power, the love will come to you. The more you go looking for love, the more you disempower yourself. So you are here to own your power. There's a reason why you are called Devis, why you are Shakti. You're here to own your power. So own your power, everything else will come to you. Everything we've learned today is how to own our power. So revisit these teachings whenever you need to. Get reminded of these things. And what an auspicious opportunity to practice on Mahashivratri. So thank you all for inviting me from the holy land of Uttarakhand. Lots of love.
Just a last point. Life after life. The immortality or the how when we transcend the body, we live on. Could you just say a few words on that, please?
It's Shiva blinking his eyes, you know. It's Shiva blinking his eyes. You close your eyes, you wake up from one day to the next. So from a perspective of eternity, this is just blinking your eyes. This is just changing your clothes. This is just forget about life after life. Within one day, just look at your day today. How many lives have you lived today? Maybe you've been a mother today. Maybe you've been a boss today. Maybe you've been a friend today. Maybe you've been lonely today. So how many lives you've lived in a day, and how many lives you can live in a moment? That same thing will happen. Matter recycles, you see. So beyond a point, the matter of your body will recycle. Energy flows and life interweaves. So as long as you, Maharaj used to say, Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say, if you think you were born and if you think you're going to die, you will continue to be born and you will continue to die. So if you're in the 6 Kanchukas, many lifetimes.
Thank you.
I like the joke is many lives, many masters, still confused. All right, good. Chaliye Komalji, say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Nitya.
All right. Take care.
Like a blink of an eye. Wonderful.